Okay, so it all began when the band held auditions. No, wait. No singing. I didn't... Fine. Alright, I know. This might be hard to believe. I'm not drunk or possessed. Okay, a little naive.
The clip you just watched is from a game called Chorus, and yes, it's real. Somebody finally made a video game musical. Well, is making a video game musical. And I am hyped. Ever since I played Britney Spears in my high school production of We Will Rock You, yup, that's a real character, I've been in love with musical theatre. I've acted in numerous community theatre productions and even directed a couple. What you're seeing on screen now is the trailer from a production of American Idiot I directed a few years back. So when I discovered Chorus, I was overjoyed to see a studio finally meld my two great loves together, video games and people singing at each other. Back in 2013, I wrote an article for a student magazine called How to Create a Video Game Musical, and the writing was complete trash. But I figured I'd return to the idea and then explore what Chorus is and what we know about it so far. To a certain extent, elements of the video game musical, or VGM, can be found in some games already, with Epic Mickey 2's villainous jingles and the Monkey Island series singing Pirates Easter egg. Even rhythm games such as Guitar Hero, Beat Saber and Thumper have implemented music-based mechanics, but the problem there is that these games lack the story and the feel of a musical. They're more similar to a cabaret in video game format, rather than a straight-up VGM. All you would require is a colourful world and interesting characters where the singing wouldn't create complete dissonance between the player and the story. Bioshock Infinite would have been a perfect environment for a musical to grow, particularly seeing as the use of music in the game is one of the most iconic things about it.
The world could show nothing to me, so what good would living do me?
And what about the style of music? Well, the first few VGMs would do well to stay away from large operatic soundtracks. However, if we're talking about musical adaptations into video games, something I wouldn't condone at all, then big epics such as Les Miserables, 2 hours of glorified death scenes, would be best suited to a game focusing on longer periods of time, say, around the barricade. However, an approach like this would fall into the pit of stretching itself too thin, a lot like Les Mis itself, haha, got 'em, with too many characters and side plots for your audience to sink your teeth into. The music ought to be punchy, not unlike, say, the Rent soundtrack. The singing, dancing can't be limited to cutscenes either. If the game is to truly succeed in preventing dissonance, cutscenes should be kept to a minimum, less than, for example, the new Assassin's Creed games, where cutscenes are limited to talking heads. Dialogue is still a must though, similar to how the Spring Awakening musical works. A consistent dialogue should run between each song, and when necessary, the dialogue should blend into song. Even more importantly, and this may be a personal preference, we should feel a natural integration from the dialogue world to the song world. You want to avoid that jarring nature you can sometimes get with old world musicals, where a character stops the story to state, "Alright, time for a song," with jazz hands in tow. If you want a clear example of this, just look at Anything Goes. Although Anything Goes is the best Gershwin era musical, so it does still get a pass. I wouldn't say that choreography is necessarily key, but if your VGM has any kind of movement, it needs to flow with the music. Think about the movement in, say, Bound. Remember Bound? That gorgeous game that released a few months back? The developers took several liberties with how you control your character in that game. Everything was fluid, constantly moving. The player sprightly stepping in tandem with the melody. It was almost balletic. Even Rayman Legends, yes, I'm talking about Rayman again, it's great and everyone should play it. The musical levels were easily the best part of the game. The exhilaration when you had to leap, kick and duck to the beat of Black Betty or Eye of the Tiger, that childish giddiness. If a developer could pull off a feeling like that, they've turned the toe-tapping feeling of watching a finely crafted musical into something you can feel in the palm of your hands. If the game includes combat, make the fighting structured, choreographed, and dependent on the style of song or character. The animation should fall anywhere between We Will Rock You's ogre battle to West Side Story's dance fighting. Actually, no, maybe best for you to try to avoid that. West Side Story, man. I'm sorry, I still don't get it. Maybe it's just because I hate Romeo and Juliet, but in the face of modern musicals, it just has not aged well at all. And white people, goddammit, can we stop with the fake tan Puerto Ricans, please? You're everything that's wrong with musical theatre. Where was I? Oh yeah, most importantly of all, make sure the songs are relevant to what's happening in the story, and if you can, try to avoid the dreaded third act syndrome, the greatest plague to half-decent musicals. There are numerous victims to this. My Fair Lady, Guys and Dolls, dear God, Rent. I get that Jonathan Larson died so they couldn't go back and change the ending, but yeesh, that show ends with a character being brought to life through the power of song, and the song sucks.
Hold on, there's something you should hear. It isn't much, but it took all year.
Kinky Boots had the right idea. Yeah, that's right. Just get the characters out on a catwalk in glittery red boots. Legitimately the best ending to a musical ever. Amazing. Mwah. Every show should end this way. Can you imagine Phantom of the Opera ending like this? It'd make the show 10 times better. I'm not arguing that we should see a Spider-Man VGM. We already saw what happened there when some people tried to create Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark. Actually, it does cross my mind that some of you watching might not know about this, so let's take a quick spin into musical theatre history.
I'm a $65 million circus tragedy. Actually, more like 75.
Wait in the Wings made an excellent 46-minute video on what went wrong with SSTOTD, but allow me to briefly summarise. So in 2005, Bono and The Edge decided that Broadway needed Spider-Man. They decided to write a musical, one of the most expensive musicals in Broadway history. The story focused on Peter Parker, Mary Jane and the Green Goblin, capitalising off of Sam Raimi's movie but drastically changing the story, making Peter Parker destined by some Greek spider god to be Spider-Man or something. The show would have practical effects, with Spidey swinging about the theatre and facing off against not just Norman Osborn, but a plethora of his rogues gallery, such as the Lizard and Bee-Man. Is that meant to be Swarm? Seriously guys, no Mysterio? You're making a musical about Spider-Man and Mysterio isn't your main villain? In the end, the show cost $75 million, primarily because they had to renovate the theatre so that actors could fly above the audience's heads. They cast Reeve Carney as the webhead, who has the charisma of a wooden spoon, sorry not sorry, and Patrick Page as the Green Goblin, who honestly was the only redeeming factor of the show. Also, the songs sucked. I've never been a big fan of U2 in the past, but I mean, listen to this. In the end, it was a critical and commercial flop, suffering from third act syndrome, critically injuring 5 cast members and, worst of all, killing a stagehand. If you can't totally comprehend how a really good video game musical could look, just take a look at this ridiculous clip from The Last of Us's alternative ending, where one of the last scenes is done entirely through song. Not only is it hilarious because Troy Baker has no idea what's about to happen, but it's a perfect example of how a dark and gritty tale could be told using a video game musical.
You can't save her, even if you get her out of here. What then? What then? She'll be raped and murdered. Raped and murdered.
And with all of that out of the way, let's look at Chorus. Chorus is created by Liam Esler and David Gader of Obsidian and BioWare fame. The two of them decided to take a few steps away from their RPG histories and with a small team are currently creating a video game musical passion project. The story focuses on Grace, the last muse. Framed for the murder of her friend Calliope, she embarks on a musical adventure to clear her name in the pantheon of the Greek gods. The synopsis reads, "Band life is hard, especially when your incredible new singer appears dying at your apartment and tells you she's a muse and gives you her powers? Grace has had a weird day, and it's about to get a whole lot weirder and more dangerous. Armed only with the power of kick-ass musical numbers, you must now prove your innocence in the muse's death before her relatives, all part of a hidden society of mythological beings called the Chorus, take your life as punishment. Featuring a cast of rich and compelling characters, Chorus is a thrilling tale of gods, romance, danger, and tragedy, all brought to life through the power of song. As always, it's refreshing to see such talented creators break away from larger companies, so the creation of Summerfall Studios with such a tight, confident team is the first reason I'm excited for this. David Gaider wrote Dragon Age Origins for goodness sake, and best yet, they've brought the previously mentioned Troy Baker in as the voice director. Baker's already an adept music performer, not necessarily a musicale performer, but his band Window to the Abbey is pretty damn good. You should check it out, particularly recommending the song Water into Wine. Speaking of abbeys, the game has reunited Troy Baker with Laura Bailey, see what I did there, to voice Grace. We'll get to the style of music shortly, but that clip at the beginning might have shown off why this is so right for this game. Not only is Bailey a tremendous voice talent, but she can actually sing. None of this indie singer pish.
They made a statue of us.
And of course, we can't forget the most important piece of a musical puzzle, the composer. Chorus's music design is being led by award-winning composer Austin Wintory, and if that name is ringing a couple of bells but you can't quite put your finger on why, maybe this will get your gears turning. Yup, the guy who composed Journey is working on this. Remember that feeling you had when gliding down the golden sand dunes, preparing to climb up that imposing mountain in the distance, the sacred ancient sense of wonder? You've got Wintory to thank for that, and he's writing the songs for this thing. Much of the music seems to be rocky and punchy, but the sense of ancientness isn't lost here either. Particularly with the clips we've seen, Bailey isn't hiding away from fluid riffing in a lot of her delivery, meaning that tonally, the songs already have a real sense of personality. I've seen a lot of comparisons to Hadestown in the comments of these, but honestly, I didn't get any vibes like that from this, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're a musical theatre fan yourself and you haven't heard of the Percy Jackson musical or Jasper in Deadland, please God check them out, because Chorus seems to be pulling much more musically from these shows than the folky, jazzy style of Hadestown, particularly Jasper. Watch the trailer and see if you can't note some clear inspirations here. The team are heavily emphasizing that it's a story-driven game with RPG elements. Their crowdfunding page on Fig, which by the way has already reached 115% of its goal, so clearly I'm not the only one buzzing about this thing, details a lot more of the behind the scenes, showcasing some proof of concept videos with this gorgeous art style reminiscent of graphic novels. If anything I'm talking about today even remotely piques your interest, I've linked the Fig below where you can download, for free might I add, the proof of concept gameplay to try out yourselves. They're keeping their cards pretty close to their chest with regards to story, but it certainly seems that we'll face off against some famous faces from Greek myths. Already seeing Persephone, Apollo, and the Minotaur, who of course is voiced by Troy Baker. Weird though, considering Apollo looks like him, I'd have guessed he'd be playing Apollo. But yeah, fair enough. It seems the whole game will play off of that typical choose-your-own-adventure style with a twist. While there will be dialogue options, our moment-to-moment gameplay will be in crafting our own relationships with these characters and even choosing in which direction the musical numbers will go. We can make enemies, uncover deep secrets, and even have romances with some of these mythical creatures. Wait, you mean I can fuck the Minotaur? Hell yes! They've already released snippets of some of the writing and songs featuring Persephone and the Minotaur. However, as the team keeps reinforcing, these are just proof of concepts. What we're playing is a very, very early snippet of the game, and it's likely that none of this will even exist in the final version. I'm not sure if there will be any active animation or whether or not they're sticking to this visual novel style, but seeing as it's our first foray into a true video game musical, and because the art style is so unique, I'm not going to kick up much of a stink if that's the case. Let's take a look at the proof of concept they released.
You brought a mortal into the land of the dead.
Hi. Nice
Unwise.
He's dead. He's dead.
Trust me, you're better off. You wouldn't dare.
snap your fingers. I'm also an idol. You haven't got a prayer.
You're a clever little soul with a spark that much is true. Make sure you know of what you speak. It seems you've not the slightest clue.
Go ahead and warn me, you can try to say goodbye. I won't comply. I am not your competition.
Look at you making a stand. This is my land where I command, and I do not care about your mission.
What proof of misery do you need? Is it on pain and fear you feed? I came here looking for an answer, not your lessons, not your anger.
So now I'm a villain in your tale. My home's defiled, yet still you wail. A mewing brat without a clue, still immortal through and through.
We're not that different, you and I won't deny. I should have tried to work things out. We could be fine.
Trust me that fate hasn't served you well. It brought you to hell, the citadel. It may be empty, but it's mine. It's mine.
I know how you became the queen. Apollo told me, and it's true. To survive, we must be fighters. But I believe, I have to believe, there's more we're meant to do.
The child thinks she knows me now because she heard a little tale. You remind me of things long buried, but it's not enough. You won't prevail.
Though I know I've been condemned, I recommend we find an end which doesn't involve a bloody fight.
Then if you've the power, make it so. I believe I know how this must go. One of us wins, the other withdraws into the night. Defeated by karaoke. He'll forget. They always forget.
So again, this is some early, not even pre-alpha gameplay, and it's likely the team have already thought ahead to all of what I'm about to say. But if there's even a small chance that Summerfall Studios is listening, here are my thoughts. First, the idea of facing off in a combative duet with characters throughout the story is a great means of engaging the player in the musical aspects of your gameplay. Take Confrontation from Jekyll and Hyde, or for a more recent example, The Greatest Show's The Other Side. They're some of the best parts of those shows. Characters arguing through song always adds a third dimension to how that moment feels, be it comedic or raw and angry. However, I'm hoping against hope that we'll see a solo song or perhaps even an ensemble number in there that Grace plays off of. This trial scene, which we keep seeing teased, will be a perfect opportunity for that. Second, it's clear that our flow meter will be our way of judging risk and reward in the gameplay. So far in the Minotaur and Persephone clips, it seems that we build up our flow through the course of the song, and if we've amassed enough points, we can change the course of the story in our desired way. I'm hoping that flow's purpose won't be saved until the end of the song though. It would be even more engaging if each song required us to use flow a few times to prevent a character, say, overtaking a bridge, or even just a handful of bars during a song. Third, a little bit of rhythm gameplay honestly wouldn't go amiss here too. Something as simple as a Guitar Hero-esque button prompts would work quite well when our enemies are singing at us to keep us feeling like we're in control, and would also allow for a natural difficulty curve as the game continues. I'm incredibly excited for this. More than I thought I would be at first, but after playing the proof of concept, seeing the team and hearing some of the songs firsthand, I'm already well on board. I'm just disappointed I didn't hear about the game earlier so I could back it myself. Seriously, Summerfall, I'll happily chuck $25 your way, just let me know how best to do it.
I promise I'm no easy meal. You know the kind who'll beg and cry and kneel. There'll be no chase, no I won't run. You hardly have this battle won.
I'll admit so.
Thanks for watching. To be absolutely clear, this isn't a sponsored video by Chorus. I just tripped across this thing while browsing the internet and knew I had to make a video on it. What better excuse to ramble about musicals for 20 minutes? Are you excited for the game? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, like and subscribe if you want to see more from me. Take care.